Good morning, and again, welcome to Michigan Farm and Garden. Here we are with another show and some more great information about the wonderful bounty that we have here in the state of Michigan, and a little bit more about some of that agriculture, and certainly some information as to how you can take advantage of it and how you can share more of our state's bounty. On the show this morning, my first guest is Joyce McGarry, and we are going to talk about canning, preserving. Certainly when we look at our state, and I talk to you about this every year, the bounty that we have here in Michigan is just amazing. And I don't know about you, but there's nothing like going to the cupboard and having some great Michigan produce that you've put up that you can take advantage of year round. And certainly when we're coming off a year like this, that there was so much that wasn't that available, it's nice to have some things in the freezer, and it's nice to be able to spread that out throughout the season. So Joyce is here, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about what you need to know as far as equipment. We're going to share some information on some of the do's that you need to make sure you're doing when you're canning and preserving, and also some of the don'ts. Then I also have with me this morning Dan Geyer. He's from Michigan State University. And we are going to talk about chestnuts. You know, it's one of those topics I think we probably think about the holidays, but the chestnut industry is a good, strong industry here in the state. So we're going to talk a little bit about what makes Michigan special and the tie with Michigan State, some of the research, some of the harvesting, some of those kinds of things. And then we're going to talk about a very cool upcoming conference right here in Michigan that's going to have a lot more information. So folks, just one more time how we're going to show you Michigan is on the cutting edge. Then I'm also very excited. We have a topic that we have not had on before, and that is heirloom tomatoes. So we're going to talk a little bit about that industry. We're going to talk about what they are, show you some different examples, and we are going to do that with Dean Slater and Mike Keyes, and they are from, I want to make sure I get it right, PKS Heirloom Tomatoes. So we're going to talk a little bit about that industry. Then we are going to share a wonderful recipe with you for tomato pie. Folks, if you haven't had it, it's certainly a great opportunity and certainly something you're going to want to try. It's going to be a great show. Stay tuned, and we will be back with our first guest right after the Michigan Farm and Garden Fact of the Week.
It's time for the Michigan Farm and Garden Fact of the Week, brought to you by the Corn Marketing Program of Michigan.
Michigan chestnuts. Chestnuts are normally eaten in the fall, but you can eat Michigan peeled chestnuts any time of the year just by purchasing them frozen. Chestnut flour adds sweetness and a nutty flavor to traditional, gluten-free, and vegan recipes. Chestnuts have only 3% fat, the lowest fat content of any nut, and they are a good source of vitamins A, B, C, and also E. Chestnuts are also a good source of fiber and monounsaturated fats, which helps to lower total bad cholesterol and increase the HDL, the good cholesterol. For more information, go to chestnutgrowersinc.com or to rogersreserve.org.
Corn touches your life every day. With over 600 items in the store that contain corn, it's America's renewable resource. There are amazing new products made from corn, like comforters, clothes, corn stoves, dinnerware, and of course, ethanol.
Corn, America's renewable resource, powering industry, feeding America, and fueling the future.
Thanks to Michigan's corn farmers, the future is bright for innovative products made from corn. To learn more about how corn touches your life, visit our website.
And welcome back. We are back with Joyce McGarry. Joyce, welcome back.
Thank you, Jody. Nice to be back.
It's good to have you here, and I can't believe it's already that time of year when we're talking preserving.
It seems like it goes so fast, but and it's so exciting because there's always new things that come out during this time of year. So this gives us an opportunity to share with your audience the new equipment that's available for those that have been canning a long time, and also for those that just want to start canning.
Well, and I'm going to have you go right in and show us what's the newest and latest and greatest.
Oh, okay. And these are available at any of the local stores all over Michigan. And one of them is just the starter kit for those people that just want to start in a very small amount of salsas or canned tomatoes. Anything in just 3 jars is what you get with the kit in a small basket. The basket fits in any size stock pot. instead of having to buy the large water bath canner that is available. This is a nice, easier way. As long as you just have a stock pot, the basket lowers down into it, and you just make sure the jars are covered, just like in a water bath. But it gives you a little, just the basic understanding if you really want to start doing more in quantity, or even if you just have two or one person in your family, it's kind of nice just to do 3 jars at a time. So this gives you a little understanding and beginning of water bath canning. And then these tools have been around for a while, but what Ball has done is put them together in just a nice kit. So of course we have the traditional funnel, which makes it very nice so you don't get any of the food around the rim of your jars.
Okay.
And then also the jar lifter, which you can use for many other things, I've found out. But this makes it much safer when you take those jars that are very hot and place them into your water bath or your pressure canner, or when you take them out. It makes them a lot safer to handle. And I don't know who invented this nifty little thing, Jody, but it is a magnet that gets the lids out of the hot water. And it works
very cool.
great. So you don't have to put your hands in the hot water. You just have to use your magnet.
A lot easier, because I have to say that's one of those things.
Yes.
How do you get those little buggers out without
That's
burning
right,
yourself?
and they stick together, and this makes it very easy. And then, of course, we have the plastic burper that you can use when you go around the jars to get the air out. So you can get this all in one kit, or you can buy it separately. It doesn't matter. And then what they have come up with this year are all these collapsible type of equipment. The collapsible funnel is what this is, and there's also collapsible colanders that make them much easier to store throughout the year. So there really are a fun things to use for those of you that have been canning for a long time, and those of you who just want to start.
Well, and I think that's so neat, especially with all the foodie movements and all that kind of stuff. Folks are looking at what can I do, especially some of the specialty salsas, that kind of stuff. A neat, fun way, and things you may even want to think about for wedding gifts or stuff like that.
That's what I'm thinking. For good gifts, for people who just want to start out, it's really a nice idea.
Well, and certainly, you know, we look at equipment and resources, because if you're just getting started, not only do you need the equipment, but you need to know where can I get the right information.
And I'm so glad that we were able to share this. I know Dr. Kuhn was on a while back talking about Michigan Fresh, and this is some of examples of our fact sheets that are out on the MSU Michigan Fresh website, and you can find them with any type of fruit or vegetable, and this is just a basic one on pressure canning. There's also one on basic water bath canning, and there's ones on asparagus. Sweet corn is just some that I pulled off. So there's a variety of different topics and processing. It includes freezing and water bath and pressure canning. And then of course we have our basic blue book that is available in all over in every store, and that makes it a very nice resource that we do suggest you replace every 3 to 5 years, because it does change. Processing times change, recipes change, so we really do recommend that if you've had one for a long time, that you do buy a new one.
Well, I think that's so important that we hit a lot of those, because there are some old family recipes and some things that get passed around. You know, we've seen a lot of those, but you still need to go through those steps, and I would almost say have the kill step, and that's probably not the right terminology, but you need to have something to make sure that you get rid of that bacteria if there's any in there.
That's true. That's why it's so important to follow recipes. Follow the processing times, follow the amounts exactly as they need to be done. And also we have the USDA Home Guide to Canning, which is online actually. You can just download it.
Oh, very
and
cool.
That's what I did. I downloaded all the chapters. You don't have to download every chapter, just the ones you're interested in. But this is a really nice updated resource for all consumers.
Well, and I think too, especially, you know, when we have years like this, that harvest timing has certainly been off. You know,
Yes.
So we've been telling people, make sure you're out there, make sure you pay attention, but some stuff there's not as much available as there is. So if you want to have it, you need to get out there, you need to get it, and you need to put it out.
Immediately, yes. You have to do it right when it's at that perfect ripeness. And don't forget to call your local extension offices to get your dial gauge pressure canners calibrated. Every year we do recommend that they be calibrated. That's only the dial gauges, not the weighted gauge. But it is really important that you do that to make sure when you start your pressure canning that dial is accurate.
Well, and you said you do that just by contacting your county
Your
office?
local extension offices, and they'll refer you to the educator that can help you.
Well, and certainly when we look ahead, we know this is a neat way to be able to grab things, have them throughout the season. And Joyce, certainly, I know Extension does events, activities, those kinds of things too, if you want to go and get a little bit more hands-on.
Yes, please call your Extension offices. We have a wonderful food safety team throughout the state that handles all types of consumer questions.
And one thing I would say too, and we talk about it when we talk food safety, if in doubt,
throw it out.
So sometimes you're not really sure, you look at that seal, it's a lot better to be safe.
It certainly is.
Great. Well, Joyce, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Folks, get out there. Certainly keep in mind this time of year, it's time to get out there, do some preserving, do some canning, do some freezing. Make sure you take advantage of the bounty that we have here in our state, and you'll be able to take advantage of it throughout the next year from your cupboard or from your freezer. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message.
The Cherry Marketing Institute wants you to know about tart cherries. Cherry's red color comes from powerful antioxidants. Available year-round, it's easy to incorporate cherries into your daily diet. Visit choosecherries.com.
Michigan's 1,000 apple growers take pride in producing delicious apples from one generation to the next. From the Great Lakes come great flavors. Look for locally grown Michigan apples.
Have Jody speak at your next agricultural event. Go to jodylive.com.
And welcome back. We are back with Dan Geyer of Michigan State. Dan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jody. Pleased to be here and represent my colleagues in the industry and tell you about the exciting things going on at Michigan State and in Michigan with the chestnut industry.
Well, and you know, I think it's so timely because we do always think of chestnuts for the holidays. And, you know, in the open, I went through all the different facts and all the health benefits and the importance really of chestnuts when we're looking year-round.
They are. We'd like to make it a more of a year-round industry. We're continuing to build the industry. At Michigan State University, we've got things going on, what we like to say, from the fork to the farm, instead of a lot of times producing things from the farm to the fork and trying to get all that production going and then decide, you know, where can we utilize it all. But we'd like to get some new products out there, and we're working on that. And so that's our goal with this project and with the industry.
Well, and I think too, you know, over the years, we've had folks come on and talk a little bit about chestnuts. It's certainly an industry that has increased and grown. And some of the things when we look at that growing industry, I know are things that you've looked at as far as research, some of the mechanical harvesting, some of that kinds of things. So I want to talk a little bit about that so folks at home know kind of the infrastructure, if you will, that goes along with a crop like that.
Absolutely, and we work at Michigan State. We have a great team. It's been a pleasure to work with and with the industry, from everything from the germplasm to recipes with chefs and everything. My particular area, yes, and there's everything involved from our research team includes horticulture, plant pathology, food science, packaging, biosystems and ag engineering, the MSU Extension, and even the product center. So we're really a nice integrated team. A lot goes in to getting a chestnut started till you get to enjoy it, hopefully even beyond the holidays. My specific areas are in processing, in harvesting, and a little bit in the post-harvest area as well, to keep it fresh and try to keep it fresh longer. So yes, harvesting is a big aspect of it. Producers now are getting larger and larger. They've gone from hobbyists to actual commercial growers. All of a sudden, we can't go out and have the family pick them up on a Sunday afternoon. We've got to really think serious about harvesting, and there's some commercial harvesters out there, as well as we're doing some work in developing some new concepts that might better fit some of the Michigan industry.
Well, and I think that's so important, and that's why, you know, we talk about land grants and the importance of the land grant, but to have that to move the industry forward. And, you know, I know right here, and I'm not going to pick it up, I'm just going to point to it, but we have the chestnut, and when you look at this, with all the prickly spine, I'm not even sure what all they call it, that is not something I would think of just picking up and eating.
Right. And that's the burr, and inside of it you'll have this chestnut will be inside of there, and then it must open up. And that's one of the challenges we do have with chestnuts, is that they aren't fully mature until they fall to the ground. And then we have to pick it up off the ground, which means we have to pick up the burrs and sticks and leaves and the chestnuts, and that makes harvesting a little bit complicated. But it's not something new. We don't want to reinvent the wheel in harvesting, and we're going to talk more about that in a workshop that you're going to mention here later on. But It's one of the challenges as being a grower, and we're learning more about that right now as we can't just go out there and pick them up off the ground. We don't have enough labor to do that. And it's for growers that are getting larger now, you know, most growers in the past have been more in the 3 to 5 acre size. We're trying to get some larger growers so we can really develop this as a commodity, and it's going to take some mechanical harvesting to do it.
Well, and when you talk about too, like the family going out or gathering, I think we also want to talk a little bit about this nut, because this, I'll kind of have you tell us the difference in what we really want to pay attention for.
There's a little bit of, I mean, you hear about chestnuts and people go, oh, is that a horse chestnut or is that a water chestnut? And the answer is no and no. They're different, and there's really the 3 different types. This was really a horse chestnut or a buckeye, and if you'll turn it over just slightly, Jody, you'll notice that the difference between a regular chestnut, an edible, and an inedible, again, the buckeyes either on the football field or in chestnuts give us challenges. But the edible chestnut has this little flower on the end of it, whereas the buckeye does not. And you'll see both of those growing in Michigan, but do not be careful. They are inedible and dangerous to eat, the buckeye is. But the chestnut is delicious. And we're looking for different ways to utilize them and use them year-round. That's the critical thing, so we can keep them stored and build a bigger industry.
Well, and I think part of that shows, I think, how Michigan has really stepped up and how we're playing a role. And, you know, I mentioned in the open, there's a workshop that's coming up, the North American Chestnut Farm Workshop, that's going to be held here in Michigan, that gives us a great opportunity to showcase what you've done and some of the other researchers have done. It is.
The group that's organized it under Dr. Fulbright's leadership has just done a fantastic job, and I want to emphasize the word workshop, not conference. It's a workshop. It's casual. It's informal. I would have to say it's not a lot of research material, and people are coming from all around the United States and production regions, as well as we've got some people coming in from Italy, Australia, China, and we're going to talk practical sense and what has worked either from growing, handling, marketing, how we can work together to build a better industry. Not be competitive, but just build a better industry.
Well, and I think that's so important, because certainly when we look, you know, we talk about international markets, we want to have a product that's used internationally. A lot of times too, we know weather issues. When we're looking at different opportunities, we want to make sure that we have some of that crop. So to be able to bring people in internationally, I think is huge, to have that conversation and talk about how to build the industry.
It is. I think it's going to be a very exciting conference. You know, again, hands-on type things, just talking like you and I are about things, not deep theoretical research. And we're hopefully going to attract current producers as well as some new producers that can really help us build the industry.
Well, and you mentioned you don't have to have a lot of land to get something started. This would be a pretty easy way to get an egg.
It is, but I mean, you have to be careful. There's really 4 things to emphasize, at least in chestnuts. You have to pick the right germplasm and the right site. It's very important, as it is in as many other crops. Then you've got to learn how to take care of them once you get them growing. And then you've got to be able to harvest and storage. That's more my area where we're working. We're introducing some of the commercial systems. And the biggest thing in harvesting is it's just like painting. If you don't have the wall or something prepped right, your paint, doesn't matter how good of a painter you are, it's not going to work. So harvesting's the same way: ground preparation, orchard preparation, developing your orchard. And then, as I mentioned, I kind of got sidetracked there, but the 4th thing is, of course, in marketing. And we have co-ops in Michigan, a co-op especially, and I believe it came up on your website there, and that's working to help new producers market their product.
So, well, and Dan, as we look ahead, it sounds like a great future with lots of opportunities for chestnuts.
It is. If you haven't tried them, you've got to try them. I love them. I'm a believer in them, and I think it's really helping Michigan agriculture too with a new diverse product.
Great. I don't know how to say it better than that. Thank you so much.
I appreciate the opportunity.
We appreciate it, folks. A little bit more information about Michigan agriculture, certainly great opportunities for chestnuts. Visit us at MichiganFarmandGarden.com, and I will give you information on how to get registered and how to find the product. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message.
This chicken is beak over claw for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one chicken may not be too much to cluck about, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at beyondtheelevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
And welcome back. We are back with Dean Slater and Michael Keys. Welcome, Dean. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here.
And Mike, welcome. It's good to have you here. You know, you guys, I talked about this a little bit in the open. This is fun because we're doing a topic we haven't really done before. I'm going to have you start and tell us a little bit about yourselves, and then we're going to talk heirloom tomatoes.
Sounds good to me. I've been doing heirloom tomatoes just recently. I mean, like in the last 10 years, I've been raising tomatoes since I've been, for 25 years, since I've been a kid. But I just really got into the heirloom thing, like I said, in the last 10 years. And the diversity is just incredible, like most people, I probably got the original tomatoes from like Home Depot or places like that, and I wasn't aware. And then a friend of mine, Earl Bassett, got me really into the heirloom tomato scene. He gave me like 300 or 400 different varieties. And Mike said one day, he says, well, if you weren't doing the musician thing, what would you do? I said, well, I'd like to do heirloom tomatoes. And at that point, he sat there and he was ringing up all these tomatoes that I wanted to do. And he, by the way, you're fired from the band.
Well, and Mike, let's talk about you and kind of how you got into it, because it is certainly an interesting industry.
Well, I was retired and I was looking for something to do, and I ended up helping with the band and ended up managing it. And we got to talking about tomatoes. It's something I hadn't done since I was a little guy with my mom and dad and my grandfather. And I just asked Dean, what do you want to do? Because the band was not really doing as well as we had wanted it to. And he said heirloom tomatoes. So we went ahead and we went through sites, and we picked out the ones, and they came in the mail shortly after we dissolved the band. And we started after that. And that was about 7 years ago. It's been a learning experience for both of us. There have been a lot of people throughout the country that we have met that have helped us, that have sent us some seeds that we couldn't get otherwise, helped us to build where we're at today. And then we've got the restaurants up in Traverse that we went and spoke with, and they were extremely receptive. So from there, we're here, and we appreciate your time.
Well, we appreciate it too. Heirloom tomatoes, something maybe we've heard about. Just kind of give us a short, heirloom tomatoes. What are we really talking about?
An heirloom tomato is anything that's over 50 years old. It's been around for 50 years. And the thing is, a lot of these varieties are in danger or they're lost. Like Mike and myself, we have, through friends all over the world and people in our little forum, the Tomato Depot, is on proboards.com, but they have sent us cultivars from all over the world. And the diversity is just intense. As you can see, this is a black, this is a red. Most people think of a tomato as red, but out of all the tomatoes, it's probably the least flavorful. I mean, the varieties, like I said, it's intense. We sell these as plants and seeds, and you can get a hold of us through our website. You'll probably provide that later on, but each one of them has a different flavor. And the whole fallacy and it is a fallacy, the lighter tomatoes are less acid. All tomatoes have exactly the same amount of acid in them, except for a few hybrids. And so if somebody has a problem with acid and you feed them a yellow tomato because you heard it wasn't acid, they're going to have problems, So, and like a lot of these are wild, that's a wild tomato. All these smaller ones, this is a spoon tomato, and the diversity is just like I said, it's incredible, just totally incredible. Some of them have anthocyanin, which is a super antioxidant. And see the blue in there? That's the same thing that's in a blueberry. And it's just really super high for antioxidants, anti-aging, good for what ails you, basically,
Well, and I would think too, as consumers are looking at those kinds of things,
right.
What have you guys really seen from the consumer demand and the consumer interest looking at the heirlooms?
Well,
it's continuously growing. We were out in the shopping center the other day, in fact at Myers, And I was looking at the tomatoes, and the lady started talking to me. I used to work with her at the phone company, and we got to talking, and she's been ill. So then I gave her the card because she's had to go to all organic and natural foods, and we try on our farm to do as organic as possible. If we are not certified, it's the cost in that to me is ridiculous. And what we do follow the organic practices, and the people have fallen in love with it. We can't get enough tomatoes to ripen up fast enough to make people happy.
Well, that's good, and that's always what you're looking for, those market opportunities. I'm going to have you guys stay here. We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
We're going to come back, and we're going to do a very cool recipe for tomato pie. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message. Hi, I'm Jody. Corn is America's renewable resource. It can be used to fuel your vehicle and heat your home. Corn is grown in abundance in the state of Michigan, and it is a great alternative to foreign oil when it comes to heating your home. In fact, you can install a corn heater, furnace, or boiler in your own home. These work much the same as conventional furnaces, but they use Michigan-grown corn. By using corn to heat our homes, we're creating a more secure future for everyone. Select Michigan. It's good for you, the grower, and the economy. And welcome back. We are back with Dean Slater and Mike Keyes from PKS Heirloom Tomatoes. You guys brought a wonderful recipe, shared this with me. So I'm going to go ahead and just walk folks at home through how to make it, and then you can certainly get it on the website. Basically, this is for tomato pie. So you want to go ahead and make sure you start with the crust. You'll have 4 large tomatoes, onions, sausage. You want to make sure you crumble that, fry that, shredded cheddar. Also, you'll want some shredded Swiss, Parmesan, a little mayonnaise, a little basil. You'll want to go ahead, make sure you take the moistness out of those tomatoes, take that crust, put in your layers. You'll go ahead, put that in the oven, and you want to bake that on 375. And you'll bake that for about 30 minutes with aluminum foil on, take out the foil, and then bake that for about another half hour. Folks, very, very easy, and one of those things I think we don't always think about is how we can use the vegetables and how we can use the bounty that we have here in the state. If you would like a copy of this recipe, as always, you can visit us online at MichiganFarmandGarden.com, or you can write to Michigan Farm and Garden Recipes, Box 461, Williamston, Michigan 48895, and if you want just this recipe, send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. So I wanted to give you guys more to talk about, so I wanted to get through that pretty quick. Very easy, very delicious. Certainly when we look at tomatoes, the diversity of the ways that we can use them, but also the diversity in the tomatoes is just amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, like this is a delicious, this is what most people say as beefsteak. Beefsteak's a relative term for a large tomato. And this is known as a delicious, but the other one known for the term beefsteak is Ponderosa Red, or Ponderosa Pink, excuse me, and Crimson Cushion. Those are the original beefsteaks. Anything you get from Home Depot, it could be anything. It has multiple parents. And, but I like to say that.
So a lot to look at, lots of different opportunities that are out there. Folks, we certainly want to make sure we'll have you guys back because we didn't get through everything.
Thank you.
So we'll have you back on a future show. If you get the opportunity, go out there, learn more about heirloom tomatoes, and we will see you back here next weekend. Bye.